If there was one area where I thought she would, in the worst ways possible, shine, it would be when the interviewer asked her the proverbial softball question about guns.
When we talk about crime, the conversation turns to gun safety as well. And I think you actually probably caught a lot of people off guard, maybe a bit by surprise in the debate the other night when you mentioned that you are a gun owner. I know you said it in 2019 as well. I want to talk about your values on this issue. When it comes to gun ownership, where do you draw the line in America on gun ownership and gun use?
Well, like you said, Brian, I am a gun owner, and Tim Walz, my running mate, is also a gun owner. We're not taking anybody's guns away. And so I feel very strongly that it is consistent with the Second Amendment and your right to own a gun to also say we need an assault weapons ban. They're literally tools of war. They were literally designed to kill a lot of human beings quickly.
She literally said the exact same thing she said at the debate.
Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away.
Now, after she makes this rehearsed talking point, she completely blanks out for a second because now she can't just state the talking point and move on like she did in the debate. She has to expound on it a little bit more because it's a one-on-one conversation during an interview. But she can't because she doesn't have any other talking points except to ban guns. You can literally see it in her eyes when she thinks about going off script and she aborts mission and flips back into drone mode. This interview was so bad, I wondered if any of the left-leaning media would cover it. So I went to Ground News, which lets me look through all of the media outlets who covered this interview and tells me whether the outlet leaned left, right, or center. And what I found was so glaring, my jaw dropped. Of all the stories I came across talking about the Kamala Harris post-debate interview, none of them were from left-leaning media sites. Literally none of them. I knew our mainstream media was in the pocket of the Democrat Party, but this is absolutely ridiculous. Not one left-leaning site covered it, and it was the first ever solo interview Kamala gave while running for president. Now, don't think for one second that the irony is lost on me that Kamala began by saying she supports the Second Amendment, and then the very next thing out of her mouth is proposing a law that literally violates the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment was written to restrict y'all in the government, not the citizens. She realized this if she wasn't so busy trying to be a czar instead of the president of a free country where the people have inalienable rights. I want you to remember, this is the same Kamala that said this.
Have you ever smoked?
I have.
Okay. Like in
And
college,
I inhale. I did inhale.
Okay.
It was a long time ago.
Harris explains her pro-pot stance and admits that she indulged in the substance while in college.
What does Kamala Harris listen to?
What were you
What's your
listening to when
favorite-
you was high? What was on? What song was
Oh
Snoop?
my goodness. Oh yeah, definitely Snoop. Tupac.
You guys have a searing headache? Kamala Harris graduated college in 1986. She went to grad school and finished in 1989, and she passed the bar in 1990. In that video that you just heard there, she's saying that she was smoking pot while listening to Snoop Dogg. Unfortunately, Snoop Dogg's record, his first record, Doggy Style, is a classic. That was released in 1993. And the first Tupac is Tupacalypse, which was released in 1991. So that stoned crazy woman who jailed thousands of people in California for smoking weed while she was admitting that she smokes weed, she also made up that she listened to Snoop Dogg while getting high.
Now, to me, what makes matters even worse, and I mean disgustingly worse, was this. You see, in the landmark case DC v. Heller, case where a security guard named Dick Heller challenged a law in Washington, D.C. that made it almost impossible for people to own handguns to keep them at home in a usable condition for self-defense. The court ruled that the Second Amendment of the U.S. Constitution protects an individual's right to own a firearm for personal use, like self-defense, even if they are not part of the militia. Your girl Kamala Harris, she led a group of prosecutors that unsuccessfully, thankfully, tried to convince the justices to reject the broad right to gun ownership, arguing that it would endanger state and local firearms. Yeah, that Kamala Harris.